Muchachos y muchachas, Candace Owens. I catch her on my feed all the time. The accounts that post her are usually debunking her and illustrating her confirmation bias and her grift, in my personal opinion, her grift. And I genuinely wonder who watches this woman and believes all of the BS that is spewing out of her mouth. Recently, she has been sued by the Macrons. Candace Owens made this like big series on her channel trying to make a case that Brigitte Macron, the president of France's wife, is a man. And she says this, she says it as fact. She's not saying it out of an opinion. She took like one French conspiracy theory from like some journalist, and she tried to make this entire case that Brigitte Macron is a man, in her words, by fact, right? And so the Macrons said, "Fafo, we're gonna sue you," and so they're suing Candace Owens. And I haven't really dived into the details of the lawsuit, but I am kind of interested to see what they are claiming against her. But with that being said, Candace Owens is blaming everybody but herself with this. Now, just a couple weeks ago, I'm going to show you guys this clip because it's relevant. She claimed that there was some sort of source at the White House that let her know that Trump is wanting her to stop talking about Brigitte Macron because she is somehow impeding the deals on war or something like that, right? And I think that this is completely narcissistic on her part, like thinking that she is so important that she's holding up a war, holding up peace talks or something like that. And so I didn't believe it at that point, but something makes me believe that there was at least some sort of Trump like sauced into this somehow. Anyway, she blames Trump later down the line that he's not intervening with her lawsuit. But I got to show you guys this because, once again, I think it's interesting that she is blaming the president for her own faults and failures.
When I call that person back, they tell me something that is even stranger. They say, look, I again am the messenger here. What I was told from somebody that's pretty high up at the White House is that Emmanuel Macron is holding up negotiations to end the Russian and Ukrainian war.
Because of Candace Owens.
Unless you stop speaking about his wife. And I'm just going, what? What are you saying? What are we even speaking about? What do you mean negotiations between Russia and Ukraine? I'm just like, looking into a story at my house. I've got a very small team here, and you're telling me that somehow negotiations are being held up and it needs to be communicated to me that I got to stop talking about Brigitte? What are we saying? And then I'm asking myself in my mind, because I hang up this phone and I am in true shock. Did Emmanuel Macron pretend to fly into D.C. under the guise of negotiations, the Russia and Ukraine war, and then instruct someone on his own?
Because of Candace Owens. Like, I just want you to understand what she's saying here. She's wondering if the president of France, under a guise of talking about like diplomatic things with the American president, the American cabinet, that he would fly in and at the guise of doing that, so that way he could somehow insert the request of shutting up Candace Owens. That's what she's claiming here.
Entourage to have an off the books discussion, a little meeting on the side, maybe somebody again, like a Susie Wiles, where he made his truer demands. Like, hey, this is for the pictures. Me and Trump, we're talking about you. We're going to get it done. And then what really goes on behind the scenes is like, we're not doing anything until that little podcaster, Candace, agrees to shut her mouth. What? This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. Okay. So we ended the conversation. I say, I'm going to sleep on this. It's a lot to process. I remember I get into bed and I just turn to my husband and I say, no one will ever believe us.
And I did.
Something that just arrived at me very slowly. I said, no one will ever believe
a little ridiculous
that this just took place.
It's a little
ridiculous. Like, yeah, no. this is just very, very strange. And I promised the individual that I would pray on it, that I would think further about the situation. What are the implications here? And I then...
And that's another thing too, just sorry for interrupting, but like, what as a Christian is this edifying? Like you saying that Brigitte Macron is a man, like how is that without, by the way, without like concrete, groundbreaking evidence that you could just whip out every time there's a debate about it and people are like, well, where's your evidence? And you have to watch an entire series to be convinced that Brigitte Macron is a man. Like there's not like one concrete piece of evidence. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to like really just be able to whip that out and say like, this is it. This is it. This is the groundbreaking evidence that absolutely proves that this guy, that this is a man, right? You have to actually go watch an entire series. How may I ask again, how is this edifying as a Christian? Like, what is this doing for the kingdom? You know what I mean? Like, if you're a Christian and you're watching me, like, it's just a question for other Christians. How is this furthering God's work in the kingdom? How is this the hands and feet of Christ? You know what I mean? And it's just disgusting to me that she uses like Christianese, Christian language, Christian words to derail her audience, especially those who are Christians and watch her. I think that's disgusting.
Call him back the next day and I say, look, this is pretty weird. You have to admit this is pretty weird. And you're not really giving me any details. And I kind of want to know who specifically you spoke to, because I think it kind of matters. Is somebody trying to do a side deal while Trump is doing a different deal? And at that moment, he's honest and he says, no, President Trump was on the phone too. And I go, oh, are you kidding me? You didn't tell me this yesterday? That there was some sort of a conference call and President Trump is on the line and you didn't mention it? I go, did you lie to me yesterday? Were you trying to pretend that it was like a third party person? And he says, no, I didn't lie to you. I didn't lie to you. Like I got a phone call and I obviously in the background, Trump communicated something to me. So he was there when the phone call took place. And I'm going, what the heck is going on? Literally, what is happening right now?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I think there could have been like, if we're genuinely giving thought to this, like there could be the chance that yes, he was on the phone with Macron, like President Trump was on the phone about the matter, and that maybe it was mentioned, like, you know, but I don't think that she herself is going to hold up peace talks because she's spreading this conspiracy theory. She's producing a conspiracy theory about Brigitte Macron being a man. Okay. I just don't think so. I think she thinks highly of herself. So take from that energy a couple weeks ago where she's talking about Trump calling, you know, having this call to this week where she seems to be on a whole different wavelength where she seems a little panicked that Trump and JD Vance are not coming at her defense because she's an American and all of these things. Let's just take a listen. I am going to pause it throughout to give my commentary because I think that this is hilarious that she makes such a pivot from being so against Trump, which she has been for a while. If you haven't taken notice, she has been, to like, why isn't Trump defending me?
The more that I think about it, the more absurd it is. Now, the Trump administration, who purports to care about free speech, that was what they ran on. Of course, they're not doing any of that stuff anymore. They're creating DEI for Israel and pushing through laws to redefine anti-Semitism. But they pretend.
And another thing that Candace does, and she has somehow like transformed her entire world's viewpoint, is she has made being anti-Israel her entire personality. That's what's getting her so much engagement, so much clickbait, so much rage bait. Like that is her entire personality right now.
Pretended to care about free speech, and you had JD Vance who went over there to Europe and gave a whole speech, tisk to all of you European leaders that are no longer listening to what your constituents want and are instead punishing them for their speech. If the majority of your constituents think something, you can't create laws and punish them. Like, right, that was kind of the gist of his speech. Like the markets have decided what they want, and now you're punishing these people. That's crazy, he said. America's going to be a leader. We don't believe in this. We won't support this. Then you have a literal European leader that is basically saying F you to the American Constitution, right? Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte are saying,
no, that's not. Okay. So what she's trying to get into is like, you have these foreign dignitaries, right? You have President Macron and his wife suing Candace Owens for slander, basically, for being libelous. And that's not the same thing as free speech. Like, yes, actually, let me back up. You have the freedom of speech to say whatever the hell you want to, okay? As do I. I can say whatever I want. But when you say things to the effect of you're claiming it as fact, and you're defaming somebody, and you're humiliating them because of something that you just want to engagement farm. In my personal opinion, that's what I think she's doing. You don't get to do that without consequences, especially if, you know, foreign rulers such as, just the President Macron himself, if he has the ability to sue you in your own home country, then so be it. You have the freedom of speech. He has found the freedom to sue you. I don't think that that's him invading American, laws to form a lawsuit against her. I think that if she is in fact defaming Brigitte Macron, and she continues to do it, and she's vile about it, and she is not stopping anytime soon, I think that there should be some examples made. You don't get to just say things, whatever you want about somebody, without it being true, without evidence, concrete evidence, and you just get away with it. You just get to say whatever you want. There's consequences to that. She's going to say that he's violating the Constitution.
You know what? We don't like that podcaster in America. And we are going to launch a lawsuit that's never been launched before, an unprecedented lawsuit.
By the way, she's not just a podcaster in America. People listen to her worldwide. Okay, so she's really shaping the opinions globally, especially in American politics and American culture. She is shaping opinions. So yeah, I mean, when you have a massive influence and you have these very controversial opinions that at the same time defame somebody, then yeah, you're gonna face some consequences.
Lawsuit to impoverish her for speaking.
Impoverish.
And both JD Vance and Trump have not issued a statement. In fact, where are the journalists even asking them to make a statement? Okay, a state leader is speaking about your constituent and launching a lawsuit and saying you're going to impoverish them for executing their First Amendment right. Where are you? If you are
what do you
Trump,
want them to do?
The first thing you should have done, if you purport to care about America and our Constitution, as you're supposed to be the person that's defending that day in and day out, you would come out and you would say, I don't even know whether I believe that she's a man or woman. Doesn't matter, right? I didn't watch the series. Fair. He didn't watch the series. He could even say, like he said to me on the phone, that I looked at her real close on the Eiffel Tower and it looked like a woman to me. Okay, you can say all those things, but you should say it's unacceptable. I'm a leader of this country. It is unacceptable that this leader would threaten.
So I think I missed from the first clip that I showed you to this one. Like, I don't know that she actually talked to Trump herself. But I think that's what she's insinuating, that she talked to Trump herself, and that he told her, well, Brigitte Macron looked like a woman when I looked at her. So
threaten the First Amendment in any way. We don't need Pam Bondi rushing to issue a statement about a college male that's been shoved by a student for wearing an IDF shirt, okay? We don't need the federal government getting involved on something so meaningless. But we might need our federal government when it comes to this, okay?
No.
The job of the federal government is to defend us against foreign invaders. And I would pretty much say Emmanuel Macron right now is being a foreign invader.
No,
but
he's not.
They're silent. They are silent. And
it is amazing to me how manipulative Candace Owens is. She's going from, the Macrons of being deviants. There's a clip that I'm not going to include in this, but she she doubles down on, you know, her going against the Macrons, her going against Bridget, her claiming that Brigitte Macron is a man, and saying that she, you know, that they are the elitists that all of us, you know, hate, that they're disgusting, and that she counts them amongst all of the, you know, disgusting people, elitists and rulers of the world. And it's like, damn girl, like you're really going there. Like you really are. And so she is now, not only did she not stop, you know, the whole point of the lawsuit is to stop defaming our name, stop defaming Brigitte Macron and humiliating her by, you know, calling her things like a man when she may not be, when she's not, right? And if I know, if I'm recalling correctly, I think they actually included evidence proving that Brigitte Macron is a woman in the lawsuit. And so instead of like shutting up, Candace Owens doubles down, triples down, and she gets more disgusting. And so now she's singing a different song and blaming Trump and blaming JD Vance, whatever your politics are, you know, whatever it may be. Just like, can we just agree that that's ridiculous? Like she keeps doubling down, and then now it's Trump and JD Vance's fault. I think that's crazy.
And that's a pretty loud silence right now. Because like, if I remove myself out of the situation, it is crazy that Trump has been silent on this matter, especially after Emmanuel Macron flew and tried to get Trump to shut me up. He knows what Emmanuel Macron is doing and how desperate he is to do it. So why?
See, again, she is so manipulative. Do you see what's going on here? Like from the first clip, she said herself, like, I wonder if he did that in guise to shut me up. That he would, you know, pretend to be diplomatic and pretend to have all of these peace talks and ceasing wars and things like that, just so that way he can mention Candace Owens, right? And here she's claiming it as fact, like that he actually did try to insert himself with Trump just to shut Candace Owens up. When at first that was just a thought of hers, like she thought that that's what was going on, and now she's like claiming it as fact, like that's what's going on. He's trying to get himself with Trump just so that way get infiltrated with Trump just so that he can get Candace Owens to stop talking. Like again, I genuinely feel bad for you if you are still manipulated by Candace Owens and you believe everything that comes out of her mouth.
So why is he allowing this attack on our speech? It's crazy.
Okay. And so from there, she goes in full narcissistic mode. So Nathan says Candace Owens is in full narcissistic projection mode, calling herself courageous for claiming a woman is a man, while ranting about lazy people who hold veneer of committing to truth, going for low-hanging fruit, all while cutting to a photo of E.T. in a women's clothing, and apparently Satan has inherited the earth. Let me see.
That's how committed we are to trying to get to the bottom of the truth when we present it here. And it seems like everyone else is just kind of lazy. They don't really care. They don't really care if there's a bunch of sexual perverts that are in power, right? I'm going to cover it because it's a big story, but whatever. I'm going to try to present it as if, like, you know, Candace is going down a rabbit hole that's not important. We all just have to do better is kind of the point that I'm making here, because I'm getting so remarkably frustrated with people that hold the veneer of being committed to truth, but it's all such low-hanging fruit. It's stuff that doesn't actually matter, you know? We're brushing up against real corruption and real evil, and so few people have the courage to discuss what the implications are. And the implications are that, well, Satan has inherited the earth, is the best way I would say it. It's dark and it's so sinister. And the only way that we're going to be able to shed light on these things is if we have the courage to. And that's why I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart every time I see anybody's comment section where they're talking about the Brigitte case, because so millions of you guys have watched it. You guys have just been defending me and being like, this is crap. You didn't watch the series. You don't understand how important the story is. And yes, of course, we do believe that Brigitte Macron is a man. So that's how committed we.
Again, you saw she put AT at the end of that little clip. I mean, she's really doubling down there. But I just let's just for a second just pretend like Brigitte Macron is actually a man pretending to be a woman. Like, I don't understand, and this is from a Christian, like, and you guys, I don't understand how that is, like, how does that truth, like, let's say she's finding out something revolutionary, that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man, which I personally don't believe that, but let's just say for one, like, in Candace's perfect world, that she's telling the truth, that she has discovered some remarkable truth in that. Like, how is that righting the world? You know what I mean? Like, what are we gaining from that? You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to discover like the corruption of like a lab manufactured something, and like it infiltrating medicine, and what's bad is being called good, right? That's one thing. But and that telling the truth about that benefits us because we are aware, we get to choose our medicine, okay? But when it comes to Candace Owens, like talking about Brigitte Macron being a man, like how is that edifying to us? You know what I mean? I don't understand her logic here, okay? Now, here, Nathan demonstrates that Candace Owens is actually like, she has the psychology, she has the mentality that she's actually prepared to lose the lawsuit and blaming the courts, and that there's a certain group of people that are in charge of the courts, things like this. Let's take a listen.
BM writes, Candace, have you considered the possibility of evidence being faked to win the case? It would not be surprising. How do you plan to combat this? Look, all I can do is pray. Right? We can't combat corruption of the courts. We understand that. Everything we cover on this show, we've been speaking about the corruption of the courts. Even when you're somebody who gives your entire life, as Harvey Weinstein did to the ADL, you can get taken out in a moment's notice. I'm still interested in who Harvey Weinstein pissed off, because it was definitely somebody. He was the kind of guy.
That's another thing, too. Her claim... So... That's a whole other tangent, and I don't want to go off on another tangent, but she's claiming that Harvey Weinstein like is now good. Like he was blackmailed by a certain group of people, the same group of people that he belongs to, that he was blackmailed. That's Candace's like whole ideology, right?
Who went there with powerful people. So I'm imagining, like, if Harvey Weinstein, look at that case, you're like, what happened here? The courts can just do whatever they want. It's true. Of course, I understand that. And I'm not someone who gives tons of money to the ADL.
Not because Harvey Weinstein was a creep. Not because multiple people, like, I get that there were some actresses that were trying to advance their career, models that were trying to advance their career, but there was evidence of Harvey Weinstein being a disgusting creep, exploiting women for his benefit. Okay, so let's not pretend like that was it. You know, it's just crazy to me that she's willing to defend predators just to prove her point, just so that way she can have like a point in her pocket.
In fact, I'm somebody that's on the ADL's list, and I'm talking about the stuff that the ADL has covered up, the stuff that they've lied about, their origin story, which is a story about gangsters in America that wanted to pretend that they were establishing the Anti-Defamation League because their theory is you accuse other guys of exactly what you're doing. They defame people. So they call themselves the Anti-Defamation League. And that story is crazy, that they defended Leo Frank, who murdered a Catholic girl, a young Catholic girl. It's so crazy that that's how they started their entire organization. And they are still trying to sanitize Leo Frank and pretending that it was an issue where it was just, anti-Semitism. He's a very powerful guy, Leo Frank. Anti-Semitism is not what happened. He murdered someone. And that person's name is Mary Fagan. He married young. He killed young Mary Fagan, and he was a creep, and he was gross. So, yeah, I say these things to tell the truth, and I obviously have become a target, but the only way you can combat it is through prayer. And I also think publicity, like me showing everybody in the world what is happening. The whole world is gratefully paying attention to this case.
People are looking at this like a circus, Candace Owens. They're not looking at you like some sort of like truth teller. You're a slanderer. And I think it's disgusting that, you know, she goes from claiming this as fact to like the courts. Not every court is corrupt. First of all, we're still a nation of laws. But the fact that she's throwing herself under the bus as like this entire system is so corrupt and the courts are so corrupt that I'm already anticipating the loss of, this defamation case that, the people, the powers that be that put Harvey Weinstein away are going to put me they're going to basically put the favor on the Macrons and away from me. Like, it's just not that you can't take responsibility, that you were irresponsibly spewing these narratives. You know what I mean? It can't be that. It has to be that absolutely everything in this world is corrupt, especially when it comes against Candace Owens. Give me a break.
And so I'm going to discuss every element of it. I'm passionate about this case because it's just a scary idea that an entire state can collude with the media to hide something this big, right? It's totally demented, and somebody has to have the courage to bring these cases to the forefront.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The level of narcissism, in my personal opinion, is insane to me, that she just holds herself up so highly. Again, I have to ask, like, if in her world all of this was true, let's say that she proves something, that Brigitte Macron was actually a man, like, how is this benefiting American politics? How is this benefiting us, in light of Christianity? Because she claims to be a Christian. And if you are a Christian watching this, and I know that not everybody is a Christian watching this. I'm just asking this in the, I guess in the categorization of Christianity. How is this edifying as a Christian? Like, what does this benefit us? You know what I mean? I don't know. I think Candace Owens has lost it. I think that she is scrounging for content, and therefore that's why she had to resort to a French conspiracy theory. That's just my personal opinion. And another thing that I will also say is I feel like a lot of people do the same thing in our culture, with online culture. Like, if you don't agree with something, if you don't agree with, I don't know, like a political view, then you're a man somehow. If you don't believe a conspiracy theory, then you're a man. You know what I mean? I see that a lot, like a lot of bots commenting that. I don't know. I think it's just like a whole other subculture going on. Anyway, guys, this is way longer than I wanted it to be. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.